something.
I'm
But
going
let's
live,
say-
guys.
Yeah. But let's say after 2-3 years, right, we are
Right.
say double or triple the size. In that case, they may come after us and ask us to pay all the back taxes with penalty and all those things. So you have to be careful with that.
Which they could do, right? So,
Yeah.
but they would still have no legal recourse, right? So, if, for example, if Germany says, "Hey, you're not collecting VAT tax," then they say, "Oh, we're suing you in the German courts." Then you say, "Okay, have fun."
No. EU is you cannot take EU lightly. They can do a lot of things because they have this agreement with US. I don't know how you can get screwed in different ways, but EU you cannot take lightly. You should look into. I mean, at a certain scale, obviously. I mean, it depends on the scale, but I have an obligation to do it correctly because it is an open source foundation that I'm representing and things like that. I have to do it correctly.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense in that case. But I mean, as far as like foreign governments, they don't have jurisdiction over U.S. citizens. So even like
Right.
if you get a parking ticket or a speeding ticket in another country, they can't do jack shit. Can't do anything. They can't even turn it over to U.S. collections. Well, they can, but the U.S. collections can't do anything because it's not enforceable. But
let's say the next time you visit the country. So right now, these things are so interconnected. It is so easy for the government agencies to connect with each other that let's say you visit the country again. And the reason I'm saying is that I did get a Swiss speeding ticket in Switzerland this year, and I did pay for it.
Same.
I did.
Yeah.
And the reason is that you don't know, and the next time you're applying, you're there, you don't want to be held at an airport for some $60 fine that you could have easily paid online, which is what I did, right? Just pay it and don't worry about it, right? That's why I paid that because things are so interconnected right now. People can get you if very easily, and it would. And the thing is that these things would turn up as a flag, and they will start investigating what this flag is, and waste your time, right?
I suppose so. Yeah. I mean, as far as international taxes, I'll never collect international taxes, and I won't comply with GDRP.
So that is you should, I think.
John, you're so evil.
Fuck the GDRP. The European Union has no right to tell me what I can and cannot do. I'm not there. I don't pay taxes to them. They're not. There's no legal precedent. They're only using scare tactics. You can't enforce. Otherwise, arbitrarily, any country could enforce whatever kind of policy
That's what they are doing. That's exactly what they are doing.
California's trying to pass one, aren't they?
Yeah.
And these taxes are not small. These are like 20, 22%, 23%. These are huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the reason your rationale, because you're representing an open source project, but for everyone else, it doesn't make sense to even bother with it.
Right. My gold standard is basically Udacity. They whatever they do, I'm going to follow that lead. Right. Ultimately, I want to be like Udacity.
Yeah.
So,
okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, we kind of dropped in live in the middle of the call. So
yeah.
Sorry, I was getting it all figured out. I'm like, wait, I need to warn him first. It was too late.
Yeah. It is kind of ridiculous though. Even like with the GDRP, like when that came out, I was like, yeah, right. I'm not going to comply to GDRP. There's no reason why I should do this. And there's no penalty for not doing it. Right? What can they do? They can't do anything. If you're a European citizen, sure, they can, but if your business is US based and you don't have a nexus within the European Union. Now, if you have a nexus in the European Union, that's a different story. So if you have, if you're an international company and by that, I mean, not that you just sell internationally, but you actually have offices or registered business entities within that country, then
Here's-
not have nexus.
Here's one example. Let me give you one example how you can get screwed, and not immediately, but let's say they say that Stripe cannot operate for people who are not complying with certain. They cannot operate on websites which are not complying with this GDPR thing. Suppose they European Union comes up with this policy or something, right? In that case, they can enforce, is what I'm saying, because ultimately the payment providers, right, like Stripe and PayPal, they operate across international boundaries, right? So there may be a path for them to enforce at some future date, not today, but it may be coming.
They would have to force Stripe or PayPal or whoever to enforce, though.
Yes.
They wouldn't be able to enforce it themselves. And so they'd have to report to Stripe, and then Stripe would have to say,
Yeah, it'd be economically unfeasible for Stripe or PayPal at this point. I mean, if it happened in the future, then I would comply because I would want to use Stripe and PayPal. Right. I would, it would be a business decision to decide whether I want to do business with Stripe and PayPal, and obviously I do. But there'd probably be a competitor that would rise up. But I think that Stripe and PayPal would never enforce that because it would cost them too much business. Because what they would lose is what they would gain is, obviously the top 20% of businesses that are doing maybe $1 million a year plus in revenue and can actually afford to be compliant to tax laws and GDRP. But what they would lose is the 80% of people that there's no way, like if you're a small company, you cannot afford the burden of the overhead of trying to comply to
it's huge. It's I figure it's really painful. It's painful.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing that a lot of folks don't realize, because I've heard some people talking about how great GDPR is, and I understand in principle, I want to have control of my data, but it's anti-competitive because people have to come in and figure out how to implement it.
Exactly.
There is also this California thing that there's a deadline now. I think December is the deadline for some California privacy policy thing, which is another headache.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hold the opinion that you do not have the right to your data. There's no reasonable reason to it's not private property. Your data, when you give it out, it is now public. So you have the right for someone not to intrude into your computer systems, hack your systems, and steal your information that you haven't made public. But as soon as you make something public, then it is free game. It's not your data anymore. You can't control. That would be like me trying to say, oh, well, my weight. You can't talk about my weight because that's my private data. It's a ludicrous concept that anything that you have done publicly could now be construed as your own property, and no one could utilize that information because there's nowhere to draw the line.
John, don't talk about my weight.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that is private property.
Let's. How'd you guys sales go? How'd you guys Black Friday sales do?
For me, it was good. I did not put in. I was distracted with all these things, so the effort in the sales did not go in as much as I wanted. But we still did 220, 25, about that range. Yeah, but I think it could have been better. We basically stopped. It's, the difference between marketing and sales. And our marketing channel is basically our blogs. And because we have been so busy with courses that we have not been publishing blog posts for the last 2 months, right?
How big is your list?
Think, 125 or so. So we have not been publishing that, and so the list is not warm anymore. I mean, they are not grateful. I mean, they are grateful for the content we have already published, but the conversations we could have had in these 2 months, I think I could have made, even if I had spent $2,000 creating a single blog post, right? That is $16,000 for 8 blog posts. I'm pretty certain that we would have made another 100K by, just that warmness of the list.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's a mistake. I mean, that's something that I need to figure out how to do while doing so many other things. It is really hitting me hard not to publish these blog posts.
What are your current open and click-through rates on your?
Oh, they plummet, right, when you do these Black Friday sales.
Sure, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, they fall to 10%, and the click-through rate was 1% or something like that. I mean, ridiculously small.
Wow. So wait, how many sales did you make total?
494, almost 500.
Okay, so out of a list of 115, you said?
125, yeah.
125, so 494. So about a little bit less than 0.5% of the list.
Yeah. But the same list was sold the exact same thing a few months back, right? With the Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah.
So
that's
there is
still
that.
pretty good for sale. Yeah, 0.5% of the list. So what's your average order value then?
I have to look carefully, but around 300, 350.
Okay. Yeah, that's
the price points.
Right. So anyways, I mean, for something that we could not put a lot of effort into, it was very good. I mean, actually very good. But there is a lot of money that we left on the table because of not writing blog posts, because of not doing a very good job on...
because of not sending enough emails.
No, emails we sent quite a bit.
How many did you send?
So we sent about, each day we sent one. The last day we sent 2. And before that, we sent a couple. So
total,
let's say 7.
okay. That's fine.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, my goal, for this course this year was to have $1 million in all these set of courses, revenue. We fell short by 30% or a little bit, 27%, whatever. But if you don't have that goal, it's one of those things. Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you're among the stars, right? If we had not had that goal, it would be much less.
You're not going to do a Christmas sale?
Exactly.
No, I'm done with. I'm done with sales. I actually don't enjoy the sales process. I need to get somebody who actually enjoys this thing. I actually don't enjoy the sales process at all. In fact,
were you guys doing Facebook retargeting on the emails?
No ads at all. So
I mean, that's the problem.
So it
like
was very low touch, not much effort. We did create a new page that looks pretty. I mean, it can do better, but because we had a Kickstarter campaign, we had to create a new page, sales page, etc.
What did you do the Kickstarter campaign for?
Say that again.
What was the Kickstarter campaign for?
It was for these 3 courses that we're selling, right? And then it closed for enrollment. We did not enroll anybody. And on Black Friday, we opened it again for 4 days. And that is it for this year. And then we'll open it again in January.
So you said you did 125 or 225?
225.
220. I'm trying to calculate because I did on my list, I did about 160 sales.
Yeah.
At a $99 price point.
Okay.
So you did twice as many sales at 3 times the price point.
Yeah.
Let me actually come up. Let me go and check for sure the numbers.
Because he's only selling one thing.
Right, but what I'm saying is that well, yeah, twice as many sales at 3 times the price point. So
Right.
if I did 16 grand, then I tripled the price point. That would be like, let's say 50 grand and 3
48
times
grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, 150K. So there's
Right.
still another like 75K that you made somehow.
No. So his
So,
average order value.
so
Doesn't-
average, actually, don't worry about the average order value. I'll tell you the exact numbers. The
Okay.
total amount is 224.75, right? So almost 225. And the total number of transactions is 494. So
Oh,
if I do,
Okay.
2% of your audience part. No,
Yeah, that's a big.
no, not 2%.
No.
0.2%.
No. If you got 400 transactions,
0.5%.
right?
yeah.
0.5%
So
of your
I was wrong. The average order value is 455, not 355.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So some lessons learned here from seeing your sales is higher price. Higher price is good, right?
That's the
Yes,
only way.
but they are. I mean, we are selling 3 courses for that. The 699 price point that we had.
Yeah.
So that is the most popular bundle people bought, and but it's 3 courses. So per
Yep.
course, it's actually very, very inexpensive based on what we have, what we are providing. Yeah. But yeah, you need to have a bundle which is very compelling and at a price point that is very compelling. High price point, but still very compelling when you buy it as a bundle.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I probably made a mistake in pricing my package at $99. I should have priced it at least $199. I think would have been better, and it probably wouldn't have hurt the sales that much, considering it was a bundle.
Right.
Yeah, and the other thing is to consider the fact that Satya only sells this one specific thing. While
Exactly.
That allows a much higher price point than selling multiple things, at which point the price point goes much lower. Right?
Yep.
It's
And the other thing is
expertise,
that,
the deep expertise in one thing.
and the other thing is that it's not available anymore, right? It is not only was it a sale, the course itself is not available for buying even at the regular price at this point. So the enrollment has also closed. So there is double urgency in that sense that you cannot buy the course now.
Why did you do that?
I mean, that's a thing.
I mean, one urgency is good enough because you can always use the other urgency later.
Right. I mean, we are still displaying the price point on the, because when I do the sale again on January 20th or so, I want people to, I want to collect emails and people would buy at that time. It also increases, so we are creating these courses also in the process, right? So it increases a lot of overhead. You have to communicate with people. I don't have enough people right now. So by shutting down things, we can completely focus on the courses and not worry about sales at all.
Well, in which case, you don't really need to worry about the price. If all you do is open, close, why worry about the price? Just don't change the
just
price.
because Black Friday.
I know.
Yeah.
I get it. You could have totally not done a Black Friday sale and done any open close at any time, and you'd still probably make the same money because you didn't have to do a sale because you never. You're just open close.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
people
buy more on Black Friday regardless of. I mean, I disagree on that because Black Friday, people are ready to spend money. You always have more sales on Black Friday, no matter what it is, no matter what you're selling or what your price point is. It's that people are in the mood to spend money. It's a weird thing that doesn't make any sense, but it holds true.
No, I finally figured out why you were right. I mean, I was thinking the same thing, that why is Black Friday so special, right? And my conclusion, this is just a thought experiment, is that people have saved money for holidays And Black Friday is the first holiday sale. So they are lush with money. Like they have money available in some sense, or mentally they have money available.
You think people are that smart?
Well, it's
Their credit card is not maxed out yet.
Yes.
That's probably
okay,
a better way to put it. Yeah.
Okay, fine. That maybe that's the thing, that people have certain expectations that they are going to spend certain amount of money during the holidays, and this is the first sale that starts the holiday season, right? And that's why it's ridiculous. I bought a bunch of clothes.
It doesn't even matter if we understand why. It just, the phenomenon exists, and you have to take advantage of the phenomenon. So,
right. And my other worry was that if all the competitors are selling courses, etc., at this time, then people may not have a budget left, money left to buy our courses if we do it in December or some other time. If I had done it before, that would be just fine.
People's budgets magically recharge every month. I don't know how that happens, but every month, somehow or the other, if you sell them a product, or different kind of product, or if you open close, you will get some sales. Yeah.
You should definitely, though, since you're short of your revenue goal of that target, I would say you should just go ahead and do a Christmas sale, like a few days before Christmas, because there's really nothing to lose there.
I've promised that now. It's my word. I in my emails I said that I'm not going to open it. Now I cannot. I mean, it's impossible. Like. I'll be dead, like reputation wise, it will be over.
So here's what you do. You create another email address by the name of John Sonmez at opencv.org and say, hey, I just stole Satya's email campaign, Satya's logins, and I'm going to open this just for you guys because I love you. Here it is for 3 days.
I got a solution for you. This is actually legit. This will work. So don't open it, but sell it anyway. So what you'll do is you're going to open it in January, right?
Yes.
Okay, so send some emails and say this: Christmas sale. If you want to buy now, you can pre-buy. It won't open till January, but you can pre-buy this. I promise you I wouldn't open it till January. If you pre-buy this, you'll get an extra $100 off, or you'll get this bonus for Christmas. And then the sale in December, in January, and there's no problem. You're congruent with your word.
Right. Well, I'll just pass on that. There is only one reputation. People will make.
It's not like you're hurting for money, so it's not worth it.
Yeah. That's another thing. That's another thing. I need to figure out my taxes properly if I need to change the structure of my organization, because the income level is more than. So I had optimized my structure for a certain income level. It works beautifully at that income level, and now it is just blown past whatever. Now I need to probably create a C Corp or some other corporate structure. I need to figure that out. So having the thing in January would be better, because I would have figured out the structure. Do you know of any good advisor who can advise?
I do. Yes,
okay.
I'll hook you up with Mark Kohler. Send me an email after this.
Okay.
But my understanding is that a C Corp only makes, like, an S Corp with that owns LLCs is the best in most cases. That a C Corp only makes sense when you have retained earnings that you're carrying over that you want to pay taxes on, right? So the advantage of a C Corp is that you can, because you're going to get taxed twice with a C Corp, but if you made a bunch of profit and you want to keep it in the business so that you can have cash on hand, or you want to spend it next year within the business, like you're going to do R&D, then having a C Corp would allow you to be taxed on that income through the business at the corporate tax rate, but then carry it over so it stays within the corporate entity and doesn't go, it's not a pass-through. Like an S Corp, if you earn income, it doesn't, even if you retain the income in the business, you still have to pay taxes. It still passes through to your personal income for that year.
I'm more worried about the protection, actually, that LLC provides, especially because my LLC is set up in such a way, it's a husband and wife LLC. So does it provide enough protection, or, in terms of, suppose there is a lawsuit, can they go after personal property?
Do you have an S corp right now, or is it just
No,
LLC?
it's an LLC. It's a husband and
Okay.
wife LLC.
Most likely what you'll want to do, and you can check with Mark on it, but most likely what you'll want to do is convert that LLC to an S corp, and or actually create a new S corp, and then have that S corp own an LLC that is that business. And then what that will do is that will create the level of protection. It'll also create the tax. So instead of your income being taxed as self-employment, you'll pay yourself a salary, and then the income from business will be distributions, which is taxed at which doesn't have self-employment tax attached to it. So that'll probably save you like probably 40 or 50 grand right there. Just making that structure. You might want to make that change before the end of the year.
Yes, that's what I want to do.
Because what you can do is you can throw.
You're cutting off, John.
Yeah, cut it out, John.
So you're saying
Yeah, my business runs as an S corp, and so I pay myself a salary. Stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, what I have set up is an S corp that owns all my other LLCs. So
yeah, well, my situation was slightly different in the sense that my wife also is a 50% partner, and she has the same education level. She's also a PhD in computer vision, etc. So it is equal contribution, which allows us to max out our 401ks. So that's the tax benefit we have, right? And the 401k can go all the way to 50k per person, so 55k per person. So that's 110k in 401k.
Yeah,
right?
You can do the same thing with an S corp. So all you have to do is you set up the S corp, and then you pay yourself a salary and her a salary. So you're both employees of the S corp. And then any other employees that you don't have them in the S corp. You have them in the LLC that is owned by the S corp. This way, that what happens is you're going to want to be able to have like corporate perks, right? So that you could have your health care paid for, right?
Interesting.
And if you have the employees belong to the S corp LLC, then they will also have to have those benefits as well. Where if it's you and your wife, then you can have executive level benefits that, including the 401k matching, which you want to max out. Otherwise, you have to offer it to your employees. Which
so that's exactly the kind of advice I want. Somebody who can. So if you can hook me up with your, what's this kind of person called?
Well, he's the guy I work with is a CPA, and he's also a lawyer. So So he handles both sides of it.
Got it.
But yeah, it's important to have the right structure.
Yes. What kind of insurance do you guys keep for errors and omission kind of thing?
So I had to get a specialty insurance through Lloyd's I forget. Lloyd's, whatever. Lloyd's, they do like custom insurance. And so I'm insured against like for my coaching business, and then I'm insured for like anything with the selling digital products and advertising.
Up to what?
What's that?
To what level? What level of insurance is it?
I believe my current policy is up to $3 million.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then what you want to do is you want to set up a personal umbrella policy that covers everything, right? So essentially, like for all my properties and for my businesses, I have insurance, right? But then I have an umbrella policy that covers well beyond that, goes up to like $5 to $10 million. So the way that works is if you were to get sued, and let's say that it exceeded the liability insurance of your business insurance of $3 million or whatever it is, then the umbrella would kick in and it would cover anything beyond that amount.
And what is the amount of money one should pay? One should be willing to pay for this kind of structure where you have. So I have the errors and omission insurance. I can't remember, something like 2.5, 3 million, and I don't have this umbrella thing that you're talking about. So what kind of, how much should one expect to pay?
I think I'm paying a couple $100 a month for that.
That's not okay.
Yeah, I had to shop it around quite a bit, but I used as an insurance broker to broker the deal because I got some quotes of like $2,000 a month and whatnot.
Oh, wow.
Because it's an exotic insurance. Like, people don't want to insure you against. They don't understand the business model, right? It's like, if you're opening up a coffee shop, the risks are pretty well understood. It's standard underwriting, right? But if you're selling coaching and courses and information online, someone has to analyze that and determine what your risk is or what their risk is, and so it's going to be a custom type of quote. But the biggest protection you can have, is it really, anyone can figure out how to sue you and to sue beyond that amount, or you can't count on insurance to cover every single thing. So the biggest protection you can have is to have your entities separated out, right? So that's why having the structure of not just having one S corp that owns all your business, but having an S corp that owns LLCs, that owns each business, and possibly dividing business segments out, so that if someone sues you, they may be able to get the assets in that business, but they're not going to be able to get the assets from all the businesses.
So something like, I have 3 parts of my business. I had mentioned you, right? One is the consulting business, the course business, and then there is one, let's call it data collection business, right? Data annotation business. So if you were in my place, you would actually create 3 separate entities?
If there was enough money coming into them, right? If I had enough, I probably wouldn't create 3 separate entities unless I had $1 million of revenue in each business.
Okay, so $1 million is what could be the.
That's just me. I'm not a lawyer.
Right. Sure. Just getting your opinion. Yes.
Yeah, that's just me. Like, it's based on, like, I do the same thing with properties, right? Like, if I lost a property that's worth $1 million, that sucks, but I can sustain that. Whereas, if I lost $3 or $4 million at one time, I'm wiped out. So
yeah.
But yeah, I'll just send me an email and I'll hook you up with the guy that can answer all the questions and get it set up.
Okay,
he knows
that's great.
a lot more than I do. So
sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So there's different. No, go ahead.
I unfortunately, I have to be in another meeting. I'm already a little bit late, so I need to say goodbye. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much.
All right.
See you, man.
See you later.
Right. Bye.
Okay, so there are quite a few things from what Satya was talking about, like how much you generate from the email overall, right? From the list size in terms of $2 per subscriber in that campaign.
Yeah.
But we cannot look at it in isolation anymore. Like we're like direct response marketers, so we think of everything in isolation. But there is so much more to it now, because he opens and closes only once in a while. He only makes the things available once in a while. Most of the time, it's just value. There's no sale. There's no, he's not selling most of the time. Almost all year long, he's not selling. So he is going to make a whole lot more because of the individual emails that he sells, like when he's selling. Right.
He also has an outside price anchor, right? Because he's selling something that other people are selling that has an established value, not an arbitrary value like we assign to our courses, right? So you can go to his competitor and you can buy a course for $500 or $600.
Right.
So it's and plus also it's also a very hot industry where people are actively seeking it out, right? So for example, no one's really seeking out the courses that I'm selling. They're not thinking, I mean, very few people are thinking of that, but a lot of people are saying, I want to get a job in computer vision. So they want to buy something to learn that. So,
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. He's selling something that is a job opportunity in many ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's always, whenever you're selling a biz op, you will outperform it. It's almost like in direct response, there's nothing better than biz op.
Exactly. Yep.
Yep.
Make money, biz op, whatever you want to call it. I think everything, all of this falls under biz op in some ways.
What about you guys? How'd you guys end up on your sales?
Chuck?
So I've been doing sponsorship sales. I didn't really do a Black Friday sale because the only product like this that I have to sell is the book, and I just launched it. So
it's not worth doing it.
Yeah. So the issue that I'm running into is that I've had a few sponsors renew, but it's still not quite enough to pay the bills. I have one sponsor that it looks like they're gonna re-up here within the next week, and they'll probably wind up paying enough. They're gonna make like a year-long commitment, and so they're gonna pay enough. They want to pay quarterly, so that means that they're probably gonna pay enough to pay the bills for a month or so. But
what's your total podcast download number right now?
Across all the shows?
Yeah.
It's probably in the ballpark of 70 to 80,000.
No. In a month?
Oh, in a week.
Oh, okay. So 300K per month total.
Yeah. Give or take.
75. So how much would you sell this business for?
I've had a few people actually offer to buy it. I mean, the number that comes to mind is $1 million. I don't know if I would have to think about it if somebody offered me $1 million, but I don't know if I'm willing to give it up. So
interesting. Yeah. So with 300,000 downloads, and like, how did you come to the, like, I'm just trying to understand the valuation of the business at this point, I guess.
So the last 3 years, we've grossed about $300,000 to $350,000.
Gross.
So I just tripled that.
3x the gross.
Yeah, you'd have to figure out what the question is, like, what could your net be if you ran a lean ship? Like,
yeah.
If you're grooming the company to sell, you'd lean the ship out as much as possible so that you could run on, as little expenses as possible. So then
I'm working on doing that anyway, just so that I can get ahead.
Survive.
So
yeah.
Well, yeah.
You got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So my podcast is getting around 60,000 downloads a month right now. And I've never really done any active sponsorships. So what should I do
to get sponsors?
Yeah.
Honestly, I just do the work to find people's email addresses, and then a lot of times that works out. One thing that I tend to do is I go look at other podcasts that are in the same space as me. Conferences that are in the same space as me and things like that. Because if they have a marketing budget for that kind of stuff, a lot of times they have marketing budget for my kind of stuff.
Okay, so for my stuff, which is mostly books and entrepreneurship, I go and listen to other podcasts in the space and see what they're getting or who they're getting. Or is there also like value in like just going after the tools and stuff you use and try to see if you hit a deal with them or no? Not really.
What do you mean?
Like, let's say Asana or Notion.
Yeah, you could. And there, I have a few tricks that I can show you as far as finding the right people to email. generally what I do is I go on LinkedIn, I put in the name of the company, and then I just, director of marketing or director of.
Yeah, there's actually tools for that too, right? Chrome plugins to find emails of people.
Oh, I haven't used any of those. I use a tool called hunter.io to find people.
Yeah, Hunter.
Once I know what
their
company
name.
they're with and what their name is. And that works out pretty well. And then I've been doing, I think I'm going to change what I've been doing because my goal has been to get 30 new companies into the top of the funnel every day. And it's too much work for me to get done and get everything else done that I have to do just to keep things running.
So tell me the process, just a minute before we go into that. Tell me the process, like, okay, you find the email. What do you say? Like, what kind of email do you send? And what's the sales cycle like?
Right. So basically, I send them an email and I just tell them, hey, look, I checked out whatever your company is. Or sometimes it's, hey, I use your product.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tell them a little bit about why I like it. And then I essentially say, hey, look, we're looking for sponsors and I'd love to add a testimonial to yours since I like what you're doing. And then I kind of break that down and offer to do a call with them. And that has worked really well for me in the past, but for whatever reason, I'm not getting a lot of responses right now. I don't know if it's because it's the time of year or.
And what kind of deals do you usually strike in these situations?
So typically I'll have people come back and they'll say, oh yeah, we'll sponsor for, a lot of times they want to do a trial run. So they're like, we'll sponsor 2 episodes. And I just come back and tell them no. Because sponsoring 2 episodes isn't going to get them an ROI. And I know that. And I want them to be long-term customers. And so I just tell them, look, I'm like, we have a 6 episode minimum. And that's
6
because
episode minimum.
You won't get a good ROI unless you do 6 episodes. I mean, if you're trying to hire somebody, 1 to 2 episodes will work, right? If you're doing, hey, we're hiring, but other than that, it's just it because you have to kind of hit people in the head a bunch of times with the branding, to get them to convert.
And what kind of deals are you like what they're asking? Okay, show me your podcast download stats, or what are they saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you do for that? Like show them a screenshot of Libsyn or something?
No, usually I just tell them what the numbers are.
They don't even verify them?
No.
And what kind of numbers are they looking for? Are they looking for what were the downloads, like per episode downloads?
Yeah, that's usually what they're looking for. Sometimes they're a little interested in the web traffic.
Okay.
But yeah, it's usually the downloads.
Per episode download of. Yeah. What is the minimum per episode download at which it's worth going after sponsorships?
I don't really know. I mean, sometimes I wind up landing sponsors for some of the smaller shows that only have a few hundred or 1,000 downloads per episode.
Or what's the metric? Like how much do you usually charge per 1,000 downloads per episode?
So I'm currently doing 60 CPM.
$60 CPM?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, you're on the very high end of the marketplace.
I went and looked at some of the other podcasts in my space, and one of them I saw is doing like $100 CPM.
Wow.
So
normally I've been hearing $20 CPMs. 60 is pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's because we're in a niche market.
Yeah.
And it's a market where, the marketing dollars are actually worth spending because you get more back when you land a customer.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, you're very niche.
Yeah, so.
And that's per call out, right?
Yeah.
So if they do, is that like pre, post, mid?
Yeah, pre, mid, and second mid.
All 3 combined for 60?
No, you just get one of those. It's 60 for the first, it's 55 for the second, and 50 for the third.
Yeah, you're still getting pretty good. And usually the length of those is what, 15 seconds, 30 seconds?
I go 30 seconds, yeah.
30 second call out is.
So that means per episode, though, your total CPM is well over 100. I mean, it's over 150, right? It's like
it's
more
165.
Like Yeah. Okay. So So that's pretty good. I mean, that's
Yep.
Yeah, 155.
And
You do 4
logistically,
episodes.
if I have 1M listeners and I can sell all 3 spots, then I essentially cover I cover the production cost, at least at that point.
So you're saying for the last 3 years, you've basically you're at the same kind of revenue number?
Yeah.
Why's
And
that?
I think that's kind of the upper limit challenge that you hear about. I just haven't pushed beyond that.
So you're stuck at the 350 downloads, 350
Yeah.
downloads over the last 3 years?
Yeah. If I had things clicking along the way that I was planning to have them with the sponsorship outreach and stuff, I think we would have broken through that this year. But we didn't have any outreach going for the last few.
So let me ask you this: is the bigger problem getting more downloads or getting more sponsorships? I'm assuming it's getting more sponsorships.
Right now, it's getting more sponsorships. Getting more downloads is something we were working on too, and we would do things like post audiograms and stuff like that. So we were using social media and our mailing list, and that seemed to work out. That was actually growing our listenership.
So going back to sponsorships where you're not filling, from year 1 to year 2 to year 3, has the uptake rate changed at all? Like the percentage fill offers?
No.
Where are you percentage fill overall? Like 50, 60?
50, 60%. Yeah.
Is that the industry standard?
I don't know.
Because that might just be unfortunate reality of the industry where you are filling spots to only a certain level.
Yeah, I seem to still be able to find, or at least up till now, I've still been able to find sponsors. So, if they were out there before, then I should have been able to find them earlier if I'd done the work. So,
if you had one person dedicated to this and all he was doing was finding you sponsorships all day long, and he could double your sponsorships, you'd double your business. Is that right?
Yep.
I mean, that's a huge assumption, but I'm assuming if someone's like 100% dedicated to this all day long, that's all they do, finding sponsorships, they could do, I don't know if they can fill 100%. What do you think, John?
Well, it's never possible to fill 100%, but 90% fill rates is what a lot of magazines and traditional media seek, right? 90%
without discounting.
Without what? Yeah, without discounting, because then they have remainders that they try to fill up that last 10% or so.
John Lee Dumas was talking about the fact that his podcast basically his sponsorships are filled 6 months in advance, so he's 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that'd be nice to get to, but
no, I'm just trying to think why or what could get you the sponsorships. Like, what's the key here? Why are some people getting so much sponsorships, or what's the key?
It's a repeatable process, right? You have so many people come into the funnel, so you have to get so many leads every week. You have to put those people go into the pipeline. You follow up on those leads. Of those leads, some percentage of them result in phone calls, and then some percentage of those result in sales. And so it's just a function of increasing the amount of people that you put in the funnel, and then the efficiency of every step in that pipeline, essentially.
I have a feeling that John is probably not doing as aggressively looking for sponsorships as you are.
Yeah, he doesn't, though, because remember, his is BizOp.
Yeah, he's got people coming to him. So,
but then
the caliber of the guests on there, right? Because you're talking about, again, a niche versus something that is everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, and everyone knows who Tim Ferriss is, and all. Like, he's getting, the publicity of the guests, whereas with a developer podcast, sure, there's famous developers, but it's not the level of like famous entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So you just got to dig. Just got to get a lot of leads in the funnel. That's it.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. So
and reduce the cost per episode. I think that's another metric I'd look at is like, what does it cost you to produce an episode, and constantly bringing that down. Like that'd be something I'd look at is like, what is cost per episode currently?
Yeah.
And then, how can I reduce that number?
Yep.
How many episodes are you producing for you?
We cut back on some of the shows that didn't have sponsors. So yeah. We're probably producing 8 or 9 every week at this point.
How much does each episode of JavaScript Jabber bring you?
Right now, I think we have all of the spots filled, or all but one of the spots filled. So that's about $2,000 an episode, with 2 spots filled.
So what's the lever? I can't figure out right now. And I don't think we're just talking it out loud, but I'm just trying to figure out or trying to.
Yeah. Well, I had one sponsor that didn't renew, and I've been running on tomorrow's money. And so I had a sponsor that, yeah, you're shaking your head. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But, and so, yeah, that's another reason why I'm just, slimming down is because, I need to get to the point where, the money that I brought in for this month's episodes is paying for this month's production.
Oh man, that's terrible.
Or next month's production would be even better. But anyway, so they didn't renew, and that kind of put me in a bind. And that was at the beginning of the month, because honestly, that would have bailed me out big time if they had renewed, and they were sponsoring a lot of the shows. So
Okay, so if we look at your production costs, what is the major production cost?
Editing.
How much is it
per episode? It's $75 an episode.
If you were to get it done in Philippines, how much would it be?
I don't know.
$5 an episode?
I don't know. They'd have to be doing a really good job. I mean,
they do. Of course they do. I mean, the whole world is. John Lee Dumas's episodes are done in Philippines.
Yeah.
And he gets millions. So that's really out of question. That's from my experience, an hour-long podcast download, and I basically get it done in Philippines as well. An hour-long episode couldn't cost you more than $10 to $20 at best.
You could cut it in half for sure.
Yeah.
I think you can cut it much more. How many episodes are you doing per year now?
Per year? I mean, when we were at full capacity, we were doing like 15 to 18 a week. So.
Okay. If 20 a week would be 1,000 episodes.
Yeah.
That's $70,000 in production costs.
I didn't think about it that way.
Yep.
And if you bring it down to 5,000 to 10,000,
yeah,
you just saved $60,000 from the bottom line. I'm saying $70. It's like you're saying $70. Philippines, I'm convinced you don't need more than $10 or $15 to get this shit done.
Yeah, I feel a little bit bad letting my editors go, but I think that's a solid business decision, unfortunately.
Well, that's the business versus the editor's question, right? Business versus, is your business going to survive, or are the editors going to survive?
Yeah, exactly. So
we've been down this road before.
Yeah, no, we have. Came up on Twitter a week or two ago, even.
Okay, so production cost is around $70.
Yeah. So if I bring that down to 20, let's say $20 an episode.
20 is like at the upper edge of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I would say 10 to 15 if it's an hour-long episode.
So how do you even find editors in Philippines then?
Onlinejobs.ph.
Really?
Yeah. It's not, dude, there are now websites that just do dedicated work for that. But most of them will charge you a whole lot. Like they'll charge you just like US prices because they know what they're doing, because they have their systems and process. But if you go find the person, you're gonna end up paying like 10-20% of what you're paying these guys.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that is the way it's going to be now.
Well, there's a lot of them that do placement fees, right? And I've hired people to do it.
You can, go to Chris Tucker's virtualstafffinder.com if you don't have the time, virtualstafffinder.com, or you do what John taught me, and I do a lot now. I just hire 10 of them and give them all the same audio clip.
Yeah.
And I say, I'll pay you for 3 hours, 4 hours, go do this work and see what they come back with. And you literally have, within a month, you will have a new hire to do that.
Yeah.
So editing aside, what's the other cost for the business?
I mean, I'm paying people to write show notes. I could probably get my.
How much are you paying for show notes?
That's about $15 an episode.
Yeah, you could cut that. How are they doing the show notes? Are they just doing a rev? Like, are they just doing the transcription, or are they listening to it, or what?
They listen to it. They pull the links to stuff out of it, things like that. So it's
$15 an hour for listening to the damn thing and creating an hour-long episode show notes.
Yep.
How do they do that?
What do you
mean? They listen for an hour.
Yeah.
And they type up the notes while they're listening, and that's only $15 for the whole hour.
Yep.
I think that's good enough.
Yeah, that's not bad. The question is do the show notes actually matter? That's the question. Even though it's not very expensive, like you're probably doing well as far as the labor cost on that. The question is you're still spending $15 an episode. Is it really worth it? Or you might even say maybe it's only worth it for the top 20% of shows.
Or maybe you just, like, while you're doing the episode, someone's taking the highlights of the episode, like 5 key points, and that's all there is. But are they doing everything front to end, like going to WordPress, putting the stuff in without you having to be involved in that shit?
Yeah, they're doing all of that. They're
end to end.
Yeah, end to end.
You're not even involved once you record.
That's right.
Yeah, it's probably worth just going with it at this point. But the production, unfortunately, is too expensive. What's the remaining cost for you then? 70 plus 15, that's like maybe 100K, let's say.
It's paying essentially for Michelle's time to go and reach out to people to be on the show.
Yeah, because you have to find hosts.
Yeah, find hosts. Paying my salary to be involved in the show.
That's it?
Yeah.
So you and Michelle's salary, the remaining 200K or whatever. Yeah, man.
Well, and hosting and stuff like that. I mean, there's that too.
If here's an idea. If you did, and this is something you'll have to master over time. But let's say you did sponsored. You literally had affiliate products in each of those. Not every time, but maybe every month you had some affiliate products. How to market yourself as a software developer.
Right.
You bring in a friend who's an affiliate, or you bring in people who have products online. You go reach out to them and say, hey man, you have this product. Why don't you come on the show? We'll talk about it. Don't sell it, because if you sell it, we'll not be able to sell it, but I'll interview you about the topic, give all the knowledge you can, and at the end we'll plug your course, and then you are an affiliate to it.
Yeah.
That, I mean, if you had some of that going as well.
Yeah, I could be doing some of that.
It's just
I need to tighten up the
income.
process on that a bit. I mean, you know that though.
The only problem with that is I see is that it's now creating another level of complexity to the business, where the straight business model, the simple one works. It's just a matter of just getting more sponsors at this point, right? It's like,
that's true. That's true.
I would just focus on that.
Yeah,
that's true. But getting more sponsors, someone's got to do that work. Who's going to do that work?
Yeah.
Like, who's going to pay for that to be done? I think if you reduce the production costs and you put all of that money, all the people who are doing the production work, maybe you hire them to do the sponsorship work. You teach them how to do the sales sponsorship. but you take the production work somewhere else.
Well, what makes sense to me, this is what I would say, is that Chuck, the only thing you should be doing in the business right now, besides minimal coordination, is just getting sponsors and doing nothing else until you hit a 90% fill rate. And once you hit the 90% fill rate, then you bring someone on to shadow you for the next couple of months as you continue to sell sponsorships and find sponsorships. And then you're basically training that person, you're paying them for that time to really just be trained. And then you hand over the reins to them when you're comfortable that they can actually close and keep you filled. But filling up right now is the best possible thing that you could do with your time.
Yeah, and I think I'm probably going to just bow out of as many podcast recordings as I can next week.
Yeah.
I mean, next week is one thing, but you really have to think more holistically.
No, I know.
In terms of this overall business, this is the way it's going to be now. That's what you have to think almost.
Yeah, and that's what I'm worried about is, I mean, I can cut the costs, but if I can't line up a sponsor here within the next, basically, if this sponsorship that I'm talking to these folks about next week isn't going to come through, then I've got to find some other way to bring in some income.
You maybe sell a percentage stake in the business.
I wouldn't even know how to start doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, the best course of action is just to dial for dollars, just to sell, get as many sponsorships in the pipeline as you possibly can, and just start working those leads because there's enough out there, right? Like the potential of filling is there. You just have to just go for it and just pound it hard. That's it. I mean,
yeah.
Because trying to think of other short-term plans to make money to float the bills it's a waste. It may sustain you for a month or two, but it's not going to sustain the business.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is just keep on. If you're focused 100% on procuring sponsorships, you'll become even more efficient at it. You'll put in systems. You'll be able to. That's the best possible thing you could do.
I would have to agree 100% with John here. Just spend all your living hours selling.
Yep.
And not only this month, but for the rest of 2020 maybe, so that you can actually stabilize the business.
Yep.
And take maybe you spend 1 day a week on the remaining business, but the remaining 4 days are spent on selling only.
Yep.
Yeah, man. That's pretty, I agree. Sell is the only way out of this.
Yeah, I agree. But if I can't make it work here within the next week or two, then
You have to. There's no, if I can't, that's what John is saying, and I agree with that.
There's no other option. So
there's no if I can't. There's only I have to, right? It's the burn the boats.
Yep.
You need some metrics around your, if you get so many people in your sales pipeline for sponsorships, what percentage of them end up sponsoring?
Yeah.
So that you know exactly how many people you need to contact. And you might need to hire someone as a temp job, like an Upwork job, to just fill your funnel with email addresses of potential companies. Because that's grunt work that someone could do. They can just research and they can just
true.
They can go on LinkedIn and they can find the email addresses of the marketing people because there's literally thousands and thousands of companies, probably tens of thousands of companies. You can't even contact all the possible companies that exist out there in your lifetime, probably, that could potentially sponsor you. So if you can get them sending you all those leads possible, then it's absolutely it's just a matter of doing that and then just following up on those leads and pushing them through the pipeline. And
I feel like you're not leveraging the magic of Philippine labor yet. And there's a lot of.
I mean, I could just go pull, with somebody off of this onlinejobs.ph. And then just, their job is to put as many leads into the top of that funnel as possible.
Exactly. And that's all they do. Yep.
Are you, so I am so in line with what John is saying now. Like, that's the more I'm thinking, the more I realize if you had the funnel where you had someone finding those leads and then you were using something like Mailshake, or some cold emailing software that literally you put in all their email addresses and you have custom emails. Basically, hi, so-and-so, we have this podcast, blah, 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 on this category, and we get this many downloads, and I'd love to talk to you about sponsorship, blah, blah, blah. You can literally customize the fields in that, but it's cold email that gets broadcasted to 500 people at a moment rather than individual work. And you will figure out all of these optimizations only if you're full 100% in on it. That's exactly what John is saying, and I am with him on it right now.
Okay. Well, I'll probably I'll probably find somebody on Upwork or this online jobs and see.
Yeah, you'll have to give them criteria. These are the kinds of businesses. This is the tool you use for finding these people. And once you have those emails, then you go to Mailshake. You know Mailshake?
Mailshake?
Yeah, not Milkshake, but Mailshake. That's what I did initially to get my first 50 authors on the podcast. I literally bulk emailed all of them using Mailshake. And I would bulk email like hundreds of authors at a time, and I would get a bunch of them to say yes. I didn't individually email any of them unless it was a big deal author.
Mailshake.
Yeah, it's automated email. So it's CRM basically, in some ways, if you think of it like that. But it's just you upload your email list to it, customer list, or whatever, your CRM, or if you have a sales process. I've been using
HubSpot, and it does a lot of that stuff.
So does it do automated email sequences like that? What I'm talking about? Well, then you should be doing automated email sequences.
That's what I've been doing. I just drop them in a sequence.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so Mailshake is the same thing. It's called email sequence. And so if you already have a sequence, all you need is the top of the funnel names of the people, right? And you need to constantly optimize that sequence.
Yeah, well, all I need is a list of customers or a list of potential companies that are customers, right? And then,
what is the percentage conversion on your sequence right
now? It's relatively low, but I've been kind of pushing a bunch of people through it lately.
So what is the percentage? Because if you know the percentage, you can work on improving the percentage.
Yeah, and that's where I should be focusing my effort. And if I can find somebody today, which would be nice, then I could actually have them putting people in over the weekend.
That's tough, man.
Yep.
Yeah, but if you have the criteria.
What was that?
I say get on the phone. You're gonna have to get on the phone because it's not. I mean, like the emails are great, but you're gonna have to find contact numbers and just call them and just cold call them.
Where do you find people's phone numbers? That's one that I haven't. That's one thing I haven't done.
I'm not 100% sure on that one.
John,
what you can do is this. What you can do is this. Actually, here's how you find the phone number. Okay, you find the contact for the marketing person, right?
Right.
Then you just find the company.
Oh, and you dial in.
Yep, and then you ask for that person by name, and then I think for the most part, for getting to a marketing person, it's not going to be hard. Like getting to the CEO, that's going to be hard to get.
Okay,
but
so
if you ask for the marketing person by name, 90% of the time they're just going to transfer you to that marketing person. So
yeah, that's true.
Okay, here's another thing. If you are in a serious cash crunch at this time, I don't think trying to go for new clients is the answer right now.
Well, I've been reaching out to all of my old ones, so
you have to personally reach out to all of the old ones and offer some sort of a discount to get them into this if that's what you need.
Yeah, I've already done that.
And nothing?
I've had one or two kind of sound interested, but
Call them up on the phone.
Yeah, I need to just call them on the phone.
I think old ones you're gonna have a much better possibility of conversion or increasing the people who already exist or something like that. Like increasing the number of episodes they do or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're stuck.
Yep, sounds good.
And here's the other thing. All your podcast costs are the same, but the amount of money they bring in are very different.
Yes.
So at some point you have to question which of these podcasts actually are worth doing as consistently, because if the ones that are bringing in the money are the only ones that are worth focusing on.
The only problem with that line of thinking is that it's kind of an R&D expense, right? It's like, you have to nurture these small podcasts. Eventually they'll grow, right? So you can't really it's kind of like shearing the sheep, right? Like you got to shear the sheep. You can't skin the sheep. You could cut out a lot of production costs if you drop all the podcasts that aren't making money, but at the same time, it's going to hurt you in the future. So that's why reducing the cost.
Well, the other line of thinking here then is, should you scale the business if the profitability is not there, especially in a bootstrap business? A bootstrap business, it's not good to scale when you're not profitable, right?
Well, it was profitable when I started scaling it. It's just everything kind of hit all at once.
It's just a matter of sponsorships. That's what it really comes down to. Because if you're at only and your capacity, you've got 50% capacity still, you can be doubling the revenue, which would solve all the problems. So it's selling sponsorships.
And with regards to production, can people do an amazing job? Maybe not. Does it matter if they do 90% rather than 100%? Probably not.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're recording on video where the audio quality has already gone down.
Yeah.
Not as good as pure audio. So I am not convinced that paying American production costs at this point actually makes sense for your business.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning the same way. I really hate the idea of letting some of these folks go, but I don't know. I don't know if I really have much choice. I mean, if things had continued to go the way they were going, I would have been okay. It would have been more profitable to swap them out. But at this point, we're talking about whether or not I can actually stay open. So.
Yeah. But at this point, don't even worry about, you'll have to deal with that problem, but it'll take you too much time to deal with that problem now.
Yeah.
You need coming in now. So just focus on selling sponsorships now. That's it. Until you get to past that crunch, then cut your costs and then you continue to sell sponsorships. But
what's the crunch? Like, how much cash do you need to get through this phase right now?
Probably 20 or 30,000.
You can't even sell anything on email to get that.
But if you sell one big sponsorship.
Yep. And I'm expecting one next week.
Well, yeah, but don't count on that. Instead, sell one. Yeah. Sell one next week in addition to that.
Yeah. It's not a guarantee until I have money in my bank account. So.
Yeah. So just start dialing, like I said, calling people up until you get one. Because if you dedicate yourself for this whole next week to calling as many people as possible to get you're going to land one sale at least for sure.
Yeah, I probably have at this point a week and a half before things start to slow down before Christmas.
Yeah.
And so I might be able to push it to 2 weeks, but it depends on what people are doing. But yeah, I can just get in and really hit it hard and do what I got to do. And then, if I can get that and I can get caught up on everything at the very least, then I can go and actually, do the same thing again. I get caught up on everything, have enough to get us through the next few weeks, over Christmas. Then I can go do it again and, pay the next month and, maybe get a little ahead and then start, doing some of this other stuff.
Yep.
Damn, man.
Yeah, well, it's also hard to know, like, if some of these companies that aren't getting back to me for whatever reason, right? Is it because of the crap that went down on Twitter? Is it because we're between holidays? Is it because they're busy? Is it because, they've never sponsored podcasts before and they don't know how? I mean, it's hard to know that too. And I don't know which thing to address.
That's why you get them on the phone.
Yeah.
Because then, even if it is one of those issues, if you're on the phone with them, that's gonna fix a lot of it. It's gonna create goodwill.
Yeah. Yep, makes sense. Yeah, I'll probably do some calls today, and then I'll probably just hit it hard on Monday.
Yep. That's the plan. One sale by the end of the day today. Let's do it.
We're going out of town this afternoon.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't have much time then, do you?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, anyway.
And well, here's a thought before I should we do thoughts now? Because I got to run too.
Yeah. Might as well.
The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the obstacles are the things that actually make your business stronger. Moments like this are what will kind of change your business in many ways, because you will find traction in a way that you hadn't found before. Like, what's interesting, what he said was the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. So whatever is standing in your way right now will become the way forward if you tackle it. So, all right, that's me.
Mine is, I'll say that the offer is everything, right? So what I learned from this Black Friday sale, especially with the Bulldog mindset, I did phenomenally well. Over 100 new subscribers, monthly subscribers, to a list of only 4,000, 5,000 people.
Crazy.
And I had been pitching them this whole time, but the difference was I offered them a $7 trial. And it's not even the money. It's the fact that I worded it as a trial.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they could cancel at any time when they pay $30 a month, but because it's a $7 trial, so many people signed up. And so, the product didn't change. The only thing that changes the offer, right? And so the offer, I think when we're selling things, we forget how you package it, what words you say, how you is the most critical part. It's more important than copywriting. It's more important than the price itself. The price is the most critical factor.
Yeah. Well, my thought is I know what I got to do, so I'm just going to go do it.
All right, man. Best of luck.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right, see you later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye.